Welcome to Pennsylvania in Focus. I'm Kristen Smith, Pennsylvania editor for the Center Square. And joining me today is the Center Square's Pennsylvania reporter, Anthony Hennin. This week, the House Judiciary Committee considered a bill that would make a safe syringe program. This is building on a program that would legalize fentanyl test strips in the state's effort to deal with the opioid crisis. The bill advanced 15-10, but it wasn't without concerns from members of the committee. So, Anthony, tell us a little bit about this program and why some lawmakers are very hesitant about its impacts.
Yeah, so we actually have two existing safe syringe services programs in place in Pennsylvania. One is in Pittsburgh and the other is in Philadelphia. But it's not really, it kind of operates in the gray area. It's not really clear that these programs are legal. Just real quickly, these programs basically exchange dirty needles for clean ones in an effort to prevent the spread of disease, hepatitis, HIV. We've seen outbreaks of these due to drug users using dirty needles, trading each other needles, this sort of thing. And so these safe syringe programs are created in an effort to basically make contact with drug users and try to offer them resources to get into recovery, get some counseling or help. But also there's a public health concern underlying this of, as bad as this is, maybe we can stop other issues, other diseases from spreading. So basically, the House Judiciary Committee met on Wednesday to discuss House Bill 1245, which would exempt these needles from being classified as drug paraphernalia. The fact that current state law classifies this as drug paraphernalia is really what complicates a lot of these syringe services programs. And so this would basically, it puts some guardrails on this. It would not classify these needles used in these exchanges as paraphernalia, but it would require participants to have an ID card that shows they're using the service. It would also require providers handing these out to keep certain records on file, be registered with the state, et cetera, et cetera. So we've seen the CDC endorse these programs as safe, effective, and cost-saving. We've seen a number of state health organizations in Pennsylvania endorse this. And it's basically, at this point, Democrats tend to support it, but there's much more reluctance from Republicans. And as we saw this bill advance, all Democrats supported it in the committee. All Republicans opposed it, except for Jim Struzzi, who was also instrumental in leading the effort to legalize fentanyl test strips last session.
So there is some research backing up the effectiveness of these programs. Can you talk a little bit about why some lawmakers are much more ready to support it?
Yeah. So when you look at what they've said about this, basically, we tend to see that if you are participating in a syringe exchange, you're more likely to actually get treatment. We've also seen, disease rates drop, and also it's kind of this idea generally of this is an effective harm reduction tool. Joe Hohenstein out of Philadelphia argued harm reduction and recovery work. If we take away the hope or possibility of recovery from people, then it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy that no one will ever recover. So that's generally what we're hearing from Democrats, not necessarily, obviously wanting people to keep using drugs or anything like that, but basically using this as a way to open up the possibility to get people more services, to get them off the street or help them conquer addiction and move on. Republicans, though, they've basically seen this as a step too far. Paul Schimmel was very vocal about this. He argued he's operating from principle of never do evil to achieve good. I don't necessarily question the data that support more people going into treatment, but I have to look at the policy itself and say, what am I doing to achieve the good? In this situation, where we'd allow for the provision of the very instrumentality of abuse, I believe that breaches that philosophical principle. So that's generally where a lot of Republicans have stood on this. It's not that they don't want more efforts to reach out to drug users, to get them into recovery, to offer them services or improve public health, but to them actually handing out needles, even if they are clean and has the potential to limit some of these negative effects, that still seems to be a bridge too far.
Well, Anthony, we'll continue to follow this bill as it moves through the rest of the legislature. To keep up with this story and more, please visit thecentersquare.com. For Anthony Hennin, I'm Kristen Smith. Please subscribe, and thanks for listening.
Like to stay informed on the go? Audible has an ever-growing selection of audiobooks at your fingertips. Whether it's that classic you've been meaning to get to or the new release you've been waiting for, follow the link in our show description to get 30 days of Audible free.